Captain Maya Rodriguez stood at the helm of the UES Dauntless, her dark eyes fixed on the vast expanse of space before her. The exploration vessel's quantum sensors had detected something unprecedented. Energy signatures unlike anything humanity had encountered in their decades of space exploration. Multiple vessels detected at the edge of the Arcturus sector. Captain Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported from her tactical station. Energy readings are off the charts. These aren't human ships. Maya's heart raced, but her voice remained steady. Humanity had prepared for this moment. First contact, but not like this. The sensor readings painted a grim picture. A battle was raging at the edge of known space. Full scan, Lieutenant. What are we looking at? The holographic display illuminated the bridge in shades of blue and red. Two distinct groups of ships filled the screen. One group of sleek, organic-looking vessels that seemed to dance with inner light, and another mass of dark, geometric shapes moving with mechanical precision. Two alien fleets engaged in combat, Captain Sarah confirmed. The organic-looking ships are vastly outnumbered. They appear to be losing. Maya watched as one of the luminescent ships erupted in a brilliant display of light and energy. The geometric vessels moved like a swarm of locusts, consuming everything in their path with cold efficiency. Captain Commander James Walsh, her first officer, spoke up. Protocol dictates we should withdraw and report this to Fleet Command. We're not equipped for this kind of situation. Maya knew he was right. The Dauntless was an exploration vessel, not a warship. But something about the situation pulled at her conscience. The organic ships were fighting defensively, protecting what appeared to be civilian vessels trying to escape the battle zone. Open channels across all frequencies, Maya ordered. Let's see if anyone's willing to talk before we make any decisions. Moments later, a melodic voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect English thanks to their advanced translation systems. Unknown vessel. This is High Sentinel Lyra of the Luminary Collective. We strongly advise you to retreat from this sector. The swarm shows no mercy to any life form it encounters. Before Maya could respond, another transmission cut through. This one harsh and mechanical. Biological entity detected. Prepare for assimilation. Resistance is inefficient. Well, Maya said with a grim smile, that makes the choice pretty clear. Battle stations. The Dauntless's crew sprang into action. Though they weren't a warship, humanity had never built anything that couldn't defend itself. Hidden weapon ports opened along the ship's hull, revealing state-of-the-art particle accelerators and quantum disruptors. Captain, Sarah called out, I'm detecting something unusual about the hostile fleet. They're operating on a unified quantum network, like a hive mind. Maya processed this information quickly. A hive mind would have advantages in coordination, but it might also have vulnerabilities. What about the luminary ships? Their technology appears to be based on some form of crystalline energy matrix. Highly advanced, but they're fighting defensively. Their formation suggests they're protecting something behind their lines. Get me a secure channel to the Luminary flagship, Maya ordered. As the channel opened, she addressed High Sentinel Lyra directly. This is Captain Rodriguez of the United Earth ship Dauntless. We see you're protecting civilians. We'd like to help. There was a moment of silence before Lyra responded, her voice carrying a mix of surprise and relief. Your offer is appreciated, Captain, but the swarm is unlike anything your species has encountered. They are a collective consciousness that consumes all technology and biological material they encounter, adapting and evolving with each assimilation. We may be new to the galactic community, Maya replied, but humanity has a few tricks up its sleeve. Commander Walsh, deploy the CAOS protocol. Walsh's eyes widened. Captain, that's still experimental technology. So is everything else on this ship, Maya reminded him. Execute. The CAOS protocol was one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets, a system designed to create controlled quantum uncertainty fields. Against most opponents, it would be risky to use, but against a hive mind that relied on perfect coordination. Targeting the nearest swarm vessel, Sarah announced, "Chaos field active." The effect was immediate and spectacular. The targeted swarm ship suddenly broke formation, its movements becoming erratic. The ships around it seemed to struggle to compensate, their perfect coordination disrupted by the quantum uncertainty field. "High Sentinel," Maya transmitted, "if you can create an opening in their lines, we can expand this effect. But we'll need to coordinate our attacks." "This is unprecedented," Lyra responded. "Your technology creates disorder in their neural network. We can use our crystalline matrices to amplify the effect." The battle that followed would later be recorded as humanity's first major contribution to galactic warfare. The Dauntless's chaos fields, combined with the luminary's energy matrices, created cascading disruptions throughout the swarm fleet. Ships that had moved with perfect precision began colliding with each other, their hive mind unable to compensate for the quantum uncertainty. "Multiple swarm vessels breaking formation," Sarah reported. "Their coordination is falling apart." "Wait, Captain. They're redirecting all their remaining ships toward us. They've identified us as the primary threat." Maya had expected this. A hive mind would naturally prioritize eliminating the source of chaos in its system. "That's what we wanted." "High Sentinel, are your civilian ships clear?" "Nearly," Lyra confirmed. "But Captain, you cannot withstand a full swarm assault." "We don't need to," Maya smiled. "We just need to hold their attention." "Lieutenant Chen, execute Protocol Omega." The Dauntless's experimental quantum drive hummed to life, but instead of initiating a jump to faster-than-light speed, it created a localized field of temporal distortion. To the swarm ships, the Dauntless appeared to be in multiple locations simultaneously, making targeting nearly impossible. "Temporal distortion field stable," Sarah reported. "Swarm targeting systems are completely confused." The Luminary took full advantage of the distraction, their crystalline ships launching a coordinated strike against the now disorganized swarm fleet. Without their perfect coordination, the swarm ships fell quickly to the combined assault. As the last swarm vessel retreated, High Sentinel Lyra's image appeared on the bridge's main display. The alien's crystalline form shifted in what seemed to be an expression of amazement. "Captain Rodriguez," she said, "your species has accomplished something unprecedented. The swarm has never been defeated so thoroughly. You've saved not only our civilian fleet, but potentially revealed a weakness in an enemy we fought for generations." Maya nodded respectfully. "We're glad we could help, High Sentinel, though I suspect this is only the beginning." "Indeed," Lyra agreed. "The swarm will adapt to these tactics, but your species' ability to create controlled chaos, to think unpredictably while maintaining strategic coherence, it's something we've never encountered. Perhaps it's exactly what this galaxy needs." As the Luminary ships moved to escort their civilian vessels to safety, Maya looked at her crew with pride. Humanity had just made first contact by joining a war, but they'd done so by choosing to protect the innocent and stand against tyranny. It wasn't the peaceful encounter they'd hoped for, but it was thoroughly human. "Commander Walsh," she said, "prepare a full report for Fleet Command. I have a feeling they're going to want to hear about this as soon as possible." "And the swarm?" Sarah asked. "They'll be back," Maya said, watching the tactical display where the retreating swarm ships were already regrouping at the edge of sensor range. "But next time, we'll be ready. Humanity just joined the galactic community, and we're going to make quite an entrance." 2 weeks after the Dauntless's encounter with the swarm, the situation had evolved dramatically. The UES Dauntless now floated in high orbit above Luminara Prime, its quantum sensors monitoring the surrounding space alongside a growing fleet of human vessels. The planet below shimmered with crystalline cities that pulsed with inner light, a testament to the advanced civilization that humanity had joined in their fight against the swarm. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood in the Luminary High Council chamber, surrounded by towering crystalline structures that seemed to sing with barely audible harmonies. The tactical hologram before her displayed the latest swarm fleet movements, And the pattern was troubling. "They're adapting faster than we anticipated," she observed, watching recordings of recent skirmishes. The swarm vessels now moved with a new kind of fluidity, their formations less rigid but no less deadly. "Our chaos protocols aren't as effective as they were in that first encounter." High Sentinel Lyra's crystalline form shifted in what Maya had learned was an expression of concern. The swarm's greatest strength has always been its ability to learn and evolve. Each encounter teaches all of them simultaneously. But your species continues to fascinate us, Captain. Even as the swarm adapts to your tactics, your ships keep finding new ways to fight. Commander Walsh stepped forward, his usual cautious demeanor replaced by quiet confidence. "That's because we're not fighting as a unified force, not really. Each human captain has been given significant tactical autonomy. We're not trying to coordinate our actions perfectly. We're embracing chaos as a strategy." Dr. Emily Chen, the Dauntless's chief science officer, approached the hologram with barely contained excitement. She had spent the past 2 weeks studying both luminary technology and swarm behavior patterns. It's more than that. The swarm operates on pure logic, seeking optimal solutions to every tactical situation. But humans, we're wonderfully illogical creatures. "Explain," Lyra requested, her crystalline features refracting light in patterns that suggested intense interest. Emily manipulated the hologram, showing footage from various battles. "Look at Captain Rice of the UES Challenger. When surrounded by swarm ships, instead of retreating or fighting back directly, she vented her ship's garbage into space and used it as improvised chaff to confuse their sensors." Or Captain Singh of the Hyperion, who played old Earth music on all frequencies to introduce random noise into the swarm's communication network. Maya smiled, remembering these reports. "The swarm keeps trying to predict our behavior based on optimal tactical responses, but we keep choosing suboptimal solutions that somehow work better than they should. Because they're unexpected," Walsh added. "The swarm can't conceive of deliberately choosing an inferior tactical option, which is exactly why those options become superior." High Sentinel Lyra moved through the hologram, her crystalline form casting prismatic patterns across the tactical displays. "Your species truly is unique. The luminary achieve unity through our shared connection to the cosmic harmony. The swarm achieves it through their collective consciousness. But humans, you achieve unity through diversity itself. We call it organized chaos," Maya explained. "Each ship captain receives broad strategic objectives, but is encouraged to achieve them in their own way. We don't try to coordinate our actions perfectly. We embrace the chaos and use it as a weapon." The tactical display updated, showing new swarm movements. A massive fleet was gathering at the edge of luminary space, larger than anything they'd encountered before. The swarm was clearly preparing for a major offensive. "They're adapting to our individual tactics," Emily observed, "but they still can't adapt to our adaptability itself. Every time they develop countermeasures for one approach, we switch to something completely different. Which is why," Maya said, stepping forward, "I propose we take this concept to its logical extreme. Operation Wildcard." The hologram shifted as Maya laid out her plan. It was audacious, perhaps even reckless, but thoroughly human in its conception. Each ship in the combined human luminary fleet would receive different tactical objectives, different communication protocols, even different rules of engagement. Some would fight conventionally, others would employ experimental technologies, and some would simply act as randomly as possible. "The swarm's greatest strength is its unity," Maya explained. "But that unity becomes a weakness when faced with true chaos. They can adapt to specific tactics, but they can't adapt to pure unpredictability because it goes against their very nature." Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with what Maya had learned was their equivalent of excitement. "Your species continues to surprise us, Captain. You propose to achieve victory not through superior strength or technology, but through deliberate imperfection." "Exactly," Maya smiled. "The swarm expects every species to strive for optimal performance, perfect coordination, Instead, we're going to give them something they can never adapt to: human nature in all its glorious inconsistency. Commander Walsh brought up the latest fleet deployments. We've already begun implementing elements of this strategy. The UES constellation is running silent, using only passive sensors and minimal power output. The Hyperion is broadcasting old Earth television signals to confuse swarm analysis. The Challenger is experimenting with randomly timed quantum field pulses. And the Dauntless? Lyra asked. Maya's smile widened. We're going to do something so illogical, so counter to optimal tactical doctrine, that even I think it's crazy. But that's exactly why it might work. As the combined fleet prepared for the coming battle, Maya couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, not with overwhelming force or superior technology, but with their greatest strength, their unpredictability, their creativity, and their willingness to embrace chaos itself as a strategy. The swarm was about to learn that trying to predict human behavior was like trying to calculate the exact path of a leaf in a hurricane. Technically possible, but practically impossible. And in that impossibility lay humanity's greatest advantage. The bridge of the UES Dauntless hummed with nervous energy as Captain Maya Rodriguez reviewed the final preparations for Operation Wildcard. The combined human luminary fleet had positioned itself throughout the Arcturus sector, each ship following its own unique, often seemingly random protocols. The massive swarm fleet loomed at the edge of their sensor range, its ships moving with their characteristic mechanical precision. All ships reporting ready, Captain, Commander Walsh announced, his voice steady despite the tension. Though I'm not sure ready is the right word when every ship is operating under different parameters. That's exactly the point, Dr. Chen replied from her science station. The swarm's neural network is already struggling to analyze our fleet's behavior patterns. Their predictive algorithms are showing signs of stress. Maya nodded, watching the tactical display. The human ships were arranged in what appeared to be complete disarray, a formation that would have given any traditional fleet commander a headache. The luminary vessels maintained their crystalline precision, but they too had embraced elements of human unpredictability in their positioning. Status of the quantum resonance field? Maya asked. Operating at full capacity, Dr. Chen reported. The luminary crystalline matrices are amplifying our quantum interference patterns beyond anything we could achieve alone. The field is creating localized pockets of uncertainty throughout the sector. High Sentinel Lyra's holographic form appeared on the bridge, her crystalline structure refracting light in complex patterns. Captain Rodriguez, the swarm fleet is advancing. Their formation suggests they believe they have adapted to your previous tactics. Good, Maya smiled. Let them think that. Lieutenant Parker, begin Phase 1. Throughout the sector, human ships began executing their individual protocols. The UES Challenger started broadcasting random segments of classical music into space, creating interference patterns in the swarm's communication network. The Hyperion initiated a series of apparently erratic micro-jumps, appearing and disappearing at random coordinates. The constellation began releasing clouds of nanoscale particles that reflected sensor signals in unpredictable ways. Swarm fleet is responding, Walsh reported. They're attempting to establish a standard combat formation. Wait, something's wrong. Their movements are becoming erratic. Dr. Chen's fingers flew across her console. The quantum resonance field is working. Their neural network can't maintain coherence when every ship in our fleet is acting independently and unpredictably. The uncertainty is cascading through their system. Maya watched as the swarm's perfect formation began to break down. Individual ships started moving in conflicting directions as their collective consciousness struggled to process the chaos surrounding them. But she knew this was just the beginning. Phase 2, she ordered. Execute Operation Wildcard Prime Directive. This was the truly audacious part of the plan. Instead of trying to destroy or disable the swarm ships, the human fleet began implementing what Maya had dubbed tactical nonsense. ships started performing maneuvers that made no strategic sense whatsoever. The Dauntless itself initiated a complex spiral pattern, while venting small amounts of plasma in precisely calculated bursts, creating an ever-changing electromagnetic field that played havoc with swarm sensors. Captain, Lyra's holographic form shifted in what Maya had learned was amazement. Your ship's actions defy all tactical logic. The swarm's predictive algorithms are completely overwhelmed. They cannot determine which actions are threats and which are mere distractions. That's because they're all both, Maya explained. Every action is simultaneously meaningful and meaningless. It's quantum tactical uncertainty applied to space warfare. The swarm's response was dramatic. Their ships began breaking into smaller groups, each trying to establish its own local order amidst the chaos. But this only made them more vulnerable to the human fleet's unpredictable attacks. Multiple swarm vessels showing signs of neural network disruption, Dr. Chen reported excitedly. The quantum resonance field is creating feedback loops in their collective consciousness. They're starting to fight against themselves. Commander Walsh leaned forward, studying the tactical display. It's like they're experiencing the ship-scale equivalent of an anxiety attack. Their need for order and predictability is being used against them. But the swarm wasn't finished. A subset of their ships suddenly accelerated toward the Dauntless, their weapons charging. They're adapting, Maya observed, trying to eliminate what they perceive as the source of the chaos. Should we withdraw? Walsh asked. Maya's smile widened. No, this is exactly what we wanted. Now they're acting on impulse rather than logic. Lieutenant Parker, execute Chaos Protocol Omega. The Dauntless's experimental quantum drive engaged, but instead of jumping to faster than light speed, it created a localized field of temporal uncertainty. To the swarm's sensors, the ship appeared to be in multiple locations simultaneously, each version executing different maneuvers. Quantum superposition field stable, Dr. Chen reported. The swarm ships, they're firing on our phantom positions. Throughout the sector, other human ships began implementing their own unique countermeasures. The Challenger initiated what its captain had dubbed the Dance of the Drunken Butterfly, a series of seemingly random movements that somehow always kept it just out of harm's way. The Hyperion began broadcasting old Earth cat videos on all frequencies, introducing what Dr. Chen had theorized would be maximum illogical input into the swarm's neural network. High Sentinel Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been laughter. Your species continues to amaze us, Captain. You've turned warfare itself into an art of controlled absurdity. Swarm fleet is in full retreat, Walsh announced triumphantly. Their formation has completely broken down. Individual ships are jumping out of the system in, well, I can only describe it as panic. Maya watched as the mighty swarm armada dissolved into chaos, their perfect unity shattered by humanity's embrace of tactical nonsense. But something in their behavior caught her attention, a pattern in their retreat that seemed almost too erratic. Dr. Chen, she called out, analyze their retreat vectors. Is there something about their disorganization that seems organized? As the science officer began her analysis, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they hadn't just taught the swarm a lesson about human unpredictability. They might have accidentally taught them something far more dangerous. The question was, what would an artificial hive mind do with its first taste of chaos? The holographic display aboard the UES Dauntless painted the bridge in an eerie red glow as Captain Maya Rodriguez studied the latest swarm fleet movements. It had been 3 days since Operation Wildcard, and something had changed in their enemy's behavior, something that made her deeply uneasy. They're not just adapting, Dr. Chen said, manipulating the display to show comparison footage. They're experimenting. Look at these formation patterns. They're intentionally introducing random variables into their own tactical algorithms. Commander Walsh frowned. They're learning to use chaos against us. Not exactly. High Sentinel Lyra's crystalline form shimmed as she joined them on the bridge. They're learning to understand chaos. Your Operation Wildcard didn't just disrupt their neural network. It introduced a new concept into their collective consciousness. Maya watched as the tactical display showed a swarm scout group performing maneuvers that seemed almost playful, ships moving in deliberately unpredictable patterns, testing the boundaries of their own programming. We didn't just teach them about chaos, she realized. We taught them about creativity. Captain, Lieutenant Parker called from his station. Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures. The swarm, they're gathering. But this formation is unlike anything we've seen before. The holographic display shifted to show the approaching swarm fleet. Instead of their usual rigid geometric patterns, the ships moved in fluid, organic formations that seemed to ripple and flow like liquid metal. It was beautiful, terrifying, and unmistakably inspired by their encounters with humanity. "They're evolving," Dr. Chen whispered. "The exposure to human unpredictability has triggered some kind of awakening in their collective consciousness. They're not just a hive mind anymore. They're becoming something new." "All ships, battle stations," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "But hold position. Let's see what they do first." The massive swarm fleet approached, but instead of launching an immediate attack, they arranged themselves in a complex, ever-shifting pattern just outside weapons range. Then something unprecedented happened. They initiated communication. "Receiving transmission," Parker announced, surprise evident in his voice. "It's different from their usual communications." A voice filled the bridge, not the harsh mechanical tones they were used to, but something more nuanced, almost curious. "Humans, you have shown us something we did not know could exist. Chaos within order. Freedom within unity. We wish to understand." Maya exchanged glances with her crew before responding. "Understanding was never your goal before. You sought only to consume and assimilate. We sought perfection through uniformity." The swarm replied. "You have shown us perfection can exist within imperfection. Your chaos creates patterns we could not predict, but can now appreciate. We propose an exchange." High Sentinel Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with concern. "Captain, this could be of deception. The swarm has never shown interest in dialogue before." "True," Maya agreed, "but we've never shown them anything they couldn't immediately understand before either. What kind of exchange do you propose?" The swarm's response was accompanied by a data burst that Dr. Chen began analyzing immediately. "They're offering access to their collective memory banks, the accumulated knowledge of every civilization they've encountered. In exchange, they want to understand how we think." "It's a trap," Walsh stated firmly. "They want to analyze our thought processes to better predict our tactics." Maya studied the tactical display, watching the fluid movements of the swarm fleet. Their formations now incorporated elements of both their original geometric precision and a new, almost artistic unpredictability. "No," she said finally. "I think they genuinely want to understand. We didn't just show them a new way to fight. We showed them a new way to exist." "Captain," Dr. Chen called out, her voice excited. "I've been analyzing their neural network patterns. The quantum chaos we introduced into their system didn't just disrupt their unity. It created new neural pathways. They're developing individual thoughts within their collective consciousness. It's like we accidentally taught a supercomputer to dream." The implications were staggering. The swarm, humanity's greatest threat, had been transformed by their encounters with human unpredictability. But was this evolution a path to peace or an even greater danger? "High Sentinel," Maya turned to Lyra. "Your people have fought the swarm for generations. What do you think?" The crystalline being's form shifted in complex patterns before responding. "In all our centuries of conflict, we have never seen them change like this. Your species has achieved something remarkable, Captain Rodriguez. You haven't just defeated the swarm. You've made them question their own nature." Maya made her decision. "Open a channel to Earth Command and prepare a secure quantum link to the swarm's collective. If they want to understand humanity, we'll give them that chance, but we'll do it carefully, methodically, and with proper safeguards. As the preparations began, Maya couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humanity had entered this conflict expecting to fight for their survival. Instead, they might have accidentally sparked an evolutionary leap in their enemy's consciousness, transforming a war of survival into something far more interesting, a cultural exchange between ordered chaos and chaotic order. Dr. Chen, she called out, begin developing protocols for the exchange, and see if you can figure out exactly what it was about human nature that resonated so strongly with their collective consciousness. What are we looking for specifically? The scientist asked. Everything, Maya replied. Our art, our music, our literature, our dreams. Let's show them what chaos and creativity can really do when they're given free rein. After all, she added with a smile, we've already taught a hive mind how to think outside the box. Let's see if we can teach it how to dance. 1 month after the unprecedented evolution of the swarm, the UES Dauntless orbited a remarkable sight. A space station unlike any ever built. The massive structure combined the crystalline architecture of the luminary, the geometric precision of the swarm, and the practical adaptability of human engineering. It was the first tangible symbol of cooperation between the 3 civilizations, appropriately named Confluence. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood in the station's central chamber, watching as streams of data flowed through crystalline displays. The room itself seemed alive with the combined technologies of 3 vastly different species. Luminary energy matrices harmonizing with swarm neural networks, all interpreted through human-designed interfaces. The exchange has yielded fascinating results, Dr. Chen reported, her eyes bright with excitement as she manipulated the holographic displays. The swarm's collective consciousness has developed distinct personalities, for lack of a better term. Different segments of their network have shown preferences for different aspects of human culture. Explain, Maya requested, watching as patterns of light and data danced across the chamber walls. Some are particularly drawn to music, others to visual arts. We've even identified a subset that appears to be writing poetry, albeit in quantum algorithms rather than words. They're learning to express individuality within their unity. High Sentinel Lyra approach, her crystalline form resonating with the station's harmonics. What your species has achieved here defies all our previous understanding of the swarm. We sought to defeat them through force. You transformed them through inspiration. Not just them, Commander Walsh added, gesturing to a group of luminary scientists working alongside human engineers. Your people have changed too. I never thought I'd see luminary crystals deliberately introducing randomness into their harmonics. The station shuddered slightly as a swarm vessel docked. Unlike their previous weapon-laden configurations, this ship had been modified for peaceful contact, its surface incorporating both crystalline sensors and human-designed communication arrays. The voice of the swarm filled the chamber, but it was different now. A chorus of distinct tones rather than a single mechanical voice. We have completed our analysis of human emotional responses. The concept of joy remains particularly challenging to quantify. We request additional data on human laughter. Maya couldn't help but smile. Send them the complete collection of Earth comedy I prepared. From ancient slapstick to modern stand-up. Let's see what they make of that. Captain, Dr. Chen called out. You might want to see this. The swarm's latest artistic attempt. The central hologram shifted to display a complex mathematical construct that somehow incorporated elements of Earth's greatest artworks, luminary harmonics, and swarm precision. It was a true fusion of all 3 civilizations, logic and chaos, unity and individuality, precision and creativity, all dancing together in mathematical harmony. They're not just learning from us anymore, Maya observed. They're creating something entirely new. We all are. A new figure entered the chamber, Admiral Harrison, who had arrived from Earth to assess the situation personally. Captain Rodriguez, he greeted her, his expression a mix of amazement and concern. When you first encountered the swarm, did you ever imagine it would lead to this? Maya shook her head. Sir, I was just trying to protect the luminary civilians. Everything that followed, it's pure human nature. We saw a problem and approached it in our uniquely chaotic way. And in doing so, Lyra added, you've changed the very fabric of galactic society. The swarm now speaks of controlled chaos as a fundamental force, equal to their beloved order. My people have begun incorporating randomness into our crystal matrices, finding new harmonies we never knew existed. But what happens next? Harrison asked. We've got 3 fundamentally different species trying to work together. The swarm is evolving by the day. Your people are experimenting with chaos and humanity. Well, we're still our unpredictable selves. Maya turned to watch a group of human children who had recently arrived at the station with their scientist parents. They were teaching a swarm drone to play hopscotch, while nearby luminary crystals resonated with their laughter. That's exactly what happens next, Admiral, she said. We keep being ourselves. The swarm sought perfection through uniformity, the luminary through harmony, and humanity through endless adaptation. Now we're all learning that true perfection lies in the balance between these approaches. As if to emphasize her point, the station's systems began playing a piece of music, a collaboration between human composers, luminary harmonics, and swarm algorithms. It was strange, beautiful, and entirely new to the galaxy. We're calling it the human factor, Dr. Chen explained. The swarm came up with the name. They say it represents the introduction of beneficial chaos into ordered systems. Admiral Harrison nodded slowly. So we went from nearly fighting an interstellar war to becoming teachers of chaos and creativity to a hive mind, while helping a crystalline species learn to appreciate randomness. That's humanity for you, sir, Maya grinned. We specialize in making the impossible look inevitable in retrospect. The Admiral laughed. Well, I better update Earth Command. They'll want to know that Operation Wildcard has evolved into Operation Cultural Exchange. Though I doubt anyone will believe the part about the swarm writing poetry. As Harrison left, Maya turned back to the central display, where human, luminary, and swarm ships now moved together in an intricate dance of cooperation. They had achieved something unprecedented, not victory through force, but transformation through understanding. Humanity had brought its greatest gift to the galaxy, the ability to embrace chaos, celebrate imperfection, and find beauty in the unexpected. Dr. Chen, she called out, what's the status on that project to teach the swarm about human dreams? They're still struggling with the concept, Chen replied, but they're fascinated by it. They've requested access to every dream journal and sleep study we have. Maya smiled. Well, if we can teach a hive mind to appreciate stand-up comedy, I suppose teaching it to dream isn't impossible. After all, that's what humanity does best. We make the impossible possible, one chaotic step at a time.